As I think of my childhood, what I think of most are the values that my parents gave me and bestowed to our family. It was all about family.
And as a young boy, they moved to Chicago. And so he grew up in Chicago in Arlington Heights, where he played football and was really active in sports.
And it was all about the education of the children and the sacrifice that my parents made to make sure that my brother and myself at that time, and then later my sister, would have a better life than they did.
And he always wanted to go to West Point. The stories were that when he was in 6th grade, he started to apply. As a young boy, Mom and Dad tell us that he would always play with the Army figures.
And I wanted to go to West Point just like I wanted to be a Boy Scout, thinking that I could lead a different life and through that life maybe help other people.
He also has always liked to serve people, and the leadership roles would always, the scores for leadership, he always did well in, and that also became very apparent.
His parents, raised him with those Christian values. Then he got another set of values at West Point, and then another set of values, going to business school, and of course, his last set of values here at P&G.
If I had to pick just a few words to describe that experience, I'd have to pick the motto of West Point: duty, honor, country. The focus on doing the harder right rather than the easier wrong. That's all about duty. Honor is all about integrity. We don't lie, cheat, steal. We don't tolerate people who do. We take responsibility for our actions. It's about duty, it's about honor, it's about country, it's about the character that you develop. And that character, developing it in that kind of a crucible, I think sticks with you the rest of your life. I joined the Procter Gamble company because of the purpose of the company, which is to touch and improve lives. Consistent with my Boy Scout experience, consistent with my West Point experience. And every night when I go home, just like I will tonight, I'll ask myself the question, did I do something today to touch and improve at least one life?
He was thinking when he was in the military that he wanted to get a graduate degree in engineering, because he started at West Point as an engineer. But really the only program that kind of fit his schedule and afforded him the opportunity to keep doing his work in the military, and then also gain a graduate degree, was the program with Utah. They
had a program with the University of Utah where the Air Force would fly out to Salt Lake, pick up the professors. We would go to class Thursday, I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, as I recall, and then they would fly the professors back to Salt Lake.
Bob has always been so appreciative to the University of Utah because the program was available that no other program was, and it was such a wonderful program.
I had to make sure that every time a course was offered, I could do the course, and oftentimes I would have to take books with me rather than extra uniforms. So imagine going through the jungles of Panama with your books and studying and using a flashlight under a poncho at night to study.
I was a typist, and that was when you had to do the perfect copies. Not like the computers today where you can go back and erase. So I would always tease him that my name should have been on that diploma as well.
We went on vacation to Florida one summer, and I spent the whole time writing case studies for Gary Grickscheit, and she spent the whole time typing them. It was a team effort, and today it's a team effort.
I think he's glad now that he's in a position that he can kind of give back to Utah in ways that he wasn't able to before, because they really afforded him an opportunity that he wouldn't have had otherwise.
I simply wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't benefited from the MBA and the education I got at the University of Utah.
He couldn't be a better husband, a better provider, a better father, anyone that was more interested in the community and church and helping others. And he balances that amazingly well.
Besides his hard work and his integrity and his character, I just think, he's my favorite guy. He's my best friend. We get to spend a lot of time together. He would never miss a soccer game when we were kids, and always seemed to find a way to balance work and family.
And I feel so thankful to work for a company whose purpose is touching and improving lives, realizing that you got to touch and improve the lives around you first, your family and employees, before you have a hope of touching and improving lives of the 7 billion people on the planet.
I think sometimes people mistakenly think of someone very disciplined and in the military as being very unapproachable and not sensitive. He is very sensitive.
Mom probably brings out that gracious side of him and brings out the gracious leadership, the service leadership in ways that he couldn't do alone.
I think Deanne's taught me to allow that sensitivity to be more conspicuous than perhaps I once thought I could do.
I would hope his legacy would still be about people, because I think that would be the servant leader caring about people. That would probably matter most to him.
Well, he's taken the Japanese way, he's taken the cadet leadership way, he's taken leadership from different aspects of life and kind of melded them into his own personal philosophy, but ultimately it comes down to service leadership.
Running a big company, you would hope the results would be very good. And of course, I'm sure that he would feel like that would be important, because he would worry about the people in the company.
When my announcement was made, first as CEO and president, then as chairman, I've had lots of well-meaning friends congratulate me. And I always ask them, please don't congratulate me. It's premature.
Ultimately, the test for CEO, the success, is not getting the position, but how you're looked at after you leave the position.
We will only know what kind of job I've done a decade from now, or whenever that time period is over, whether or not we look back and whether or not we as a company have touched and improved more lives, and whether or not this institution, which has been around 172 years, is stronger and ready for the next 172 years. And that's really my challenge. I'd like to thank the Alumni Association and the University of Utah for this great honor. I'd also like to thank my family for their support and their love through every step of my career. I simply could not have done this without them. Thank you also to the men and women of Procter & Gamble, past and present, for the opportunities that they've provided me to improve the lives of consumers all over the world. Thank you.